Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. This weekend, Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific, unless things change. The Church of Friendos are having their annual holiday party. The first ever.
Annual.
And hopefully annual holiday party. So this should be a lot of fun and shenanigans. Who knows what's going to happen? We don't even know what we're going to do. I've been talking to Kayla a little bit about this. She's like, yeah, well, you guys want to play Family Feud? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me see if I can figure that out. But I don't know what we're going to do. It's going to be fun. We're going to be hanging out on the Twitch. Just come by and hang out with us. Who cares what we're doing? It's us. We're great. Speaking of us being great, wasn't 2021 a crazy great year for wrestling?
Oh, wow.
Ups and downs. And we're trying to encapsulate it all with our Friendo Awards. That's right. We're doing Friendo Awards a little bit different this year. We're just basically stealing other people's ideas. WrestleTalk had the Google form thing idea, and then we were like, wow, what a great way to do it. And so today we sent out the link through our social media accounts for the Friendo Awards, where you get to vote on Wrestler of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Feud of the Year, Promo of the Year. The link is in the description to this video. It's going to be in the link to the description for all the videos that we do over the next week or so. We'll give it a week for people to put their votes in. And, yeah. So, and then, of course, if you're listening to this in the audio realm, it's there too. You can vote as well. Moving on.
We got plenty of news today, I think, in part because we don't really want to talk about Raw all that much.
Yeah, we're just trying to sort of not do that. So first up, so I wanted to mention this because we didn't get a chance to yesterday. Obviously, with the it's funny, one of the respondents for the Friendo Awards already put my power outage yesterday as one of their favorite moments of the year. Me being in my dad's man cave apparently was wildly entertaining.
A highlight for somebody, yes.
Yeah. But this happened, I think it was sort of, it came out yesterday morning. Jimmy Rave passed away at the age of 39. So Bill Behrens, who used to run like in one of the NWA territories, what was it? In Georgia. Anyways, he's also like a wrestling agent, Rampage Pro Wrestling. He was a promoter there, and he was close to Jimmy Rave. Posted this statement on Twitter. I'm just going to read it here. James Michael Guffey has died at the age of 39. James was best known as professional wrestler Jimmy Rave. His career, which started in 1999, continued for over 2 decades. He was a 2-time NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. He appeared in Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, where he teamed with Lance Archer as the Rock and Rave Infection. In Ring of Honor, he feuded with AJ Styles and was the crown jewel of the faction, the Embassy, and last appeared in 2013 as a member of Scum. He toured Japan with both Dragon Gate and New Japan, where in 2008 he competed in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. In 2005, he appeared on WWE's Sunday Night Heat. Rave appeared in numerous independent promotions, including Rampage Pro Wrestling, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, and Combat Zone Wrestling, among many others. He also served as a booker for several years in Rampage Pro Wrestling and led a faction known as Jimmy Rave Approved. Outside of wrestling, he held the position of director of the Bartow County, Georgia Peer Support Wellness and Respite Center for several years. James had been struggling with drug addiction for many years. His struggles resulted in the amputation of his arm and later both of his legs. James is survived by his ex-wife Felicia, daughter Kayla, son James II, and parents Jim and Tony Guffey. At the time of his death, he was living in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area with Gabby Gilbert. Memorial services will be held in Georgia. He was 39 years old. The pro wrestling world has been opening their hearts and memories on Twitter and social media. A highly influential individual, highly loved individual. If you're struggling with addiction, please find help. 39 is far too young for anybody to pass away.
Yeah.
This is horrible. It's tragic. If you're struggling from addiction or depression or anything like that, please find help. This is super sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. It's really sad.
More bits of news. You want to talk about some McMahon family drama? I know you and I are both huge fans of Succession. They just had a groundbreaking season 3 finale. So this might be apropos to talk about today.
Yeah. And, we've made parallels between Succession, the Roy family, the McMahon family, and former WWE referee Mike Chioda. He was on the latest edition of Monday Mailbag and talked about some apparently fairly deep rifts within the McMahons. During the show, he was asked if anyone spoke to Triple H about maybe not dating Stephanie. And this is how Chioda responded. And these transcripts are from WrestlingNews.co. Quote, yes, Shane did. Shane McMahon did. That's why the feud fell out. That's for sure. It was a thing from Vince Sr. that came around many years ago. They didn't want anybody dating talent, none of the kids, and none of their family. He didn't want them taking bumps, but that didn't happen. I think Shane really had a big part of that, and that's why Shane and Triple H had a falling out for many years, and that's why Shane was exiled for 10 years. Shane is still not on top of the list. Where is he at now? Is he in the office? Is he running things? Is he vice president? Is he vice CEO? Can somebody tell me where he's at right now? Because he should be there. I mean, even with Triple H out, you're going to have Johnny Laurinaitis, Road Dogg, and Scott Armstrong running the effing business. You're not going to have Shane McMahon there. Where's he at? It boggles me for many years, too. A lot of heat there. It gets more interesting, believe me. It's sad because when I started working for this company, there was Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and now it seems to be all broken apart. All the money in the world probably can't fix it. They have all the money in the world, a publicly traded company, which is okay. The family is torn apart at this point, I think. Maybe not torn apart all the way, which I hope not, but it's torn apart. He continues. I love Shane. I can't say anything bad about Shane McMahon. I love Stephanie, too. She's never done me wrong, but I'm sure she could have put a kibosh when they gave me the axe after WrestleMania a year and a half ago. I'm sure she could have put an end to that, but she didn't. It is what it is.
Yeah, man. That's not really shocking. I mean, a family that's, I don't know, man. I guess it's weird. Like you think about some of the friggin' things that Vince had his kids do on TV. Some of the angles that were like rumored to be out there and they didn't do, but they probably could have. It's a weird fucking family.
It is. It is.
Like, look,
It
man. Is. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't even know if it's a money thing. I just think Vince is an oddball. So if you're an oddball, you're gonna have oddball kids probably, or at least oddball relationships with them.
It seems like it's possible, but at the same time, this is one man's perspective. He was in the company for a good many years, and I'm sure he's seen a lot of things, heard a lot of things. I'm guessing the story behind all this is probably complex in terms of the interpersonal dynamics between these 4 people, or 5 people, including Paul Levesque.
The game terrorizing.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to hear, the full story at some point. I don't think we ever will. Yeah, but it'd be interesting.
Yep. Well, somebody will write a book one day, and then they'll turn into a movie with a really loose creative license.
Yeah, they'll kayfabe the heck out of it. Yes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't know. That's not shocking. Speaking of family dynamics, of course, Jeff Hardy was recently released by WWE, and he showed up in a short vignette that ran on Matt Hardy's. I think it's called the Hardy Family something? House Hardy.
His Twitch channel is House Hardy.
The HFO Twitch channel. So he appeared in a little vignette that they ran over there, and then Matt was on the show, and he was sort of giving an update on Jeff, where he basically said, I don't want to talk for Jeff, but then he talked for him for a really long time. I've got these transcripts here from our good friendos over at Cultaholic, and this is sort of the more interesting bit that he said. He said, so what I'm saying is, he sort of prefaces by talking about Jeff's, he has a brief history of Jeff's issues with addiction and how that relates to his time in WWE. And so he says, so what I'm saying is that Jeff is in the best place I've seen him in a very long time. As far as the details of what went down on that evening, the night that, he was, he was sent home. Yeah. He said, in that match on that night, I have talked with Jeff. I feel good about everything he said. That is Jeff's story to share. I'm sure he will when he is ready to he's told me he will, and when he's ready to do, but before anyone rushes to judgment. Obviously, they drug tested him after all this stuff. Wait to hear the results of that. When that comes back clean, then, hopefully people will feel better about, because I feel very good about Jeff. I feel confident about Jeff and WWE. I understand their stance too. Granted, these are transcripts, so the guy's talking, and how that doesn't usually translate great to the written word. He says they feel like they were kind of backed into a corner because of his history. And even though they may have jumped the gun with this a little bit, they made a decision, and it is what it is. And Jeff did say he wasn't going to go to rehab because he didn't think he needed to. And I don't think he did either. And that's the honest to God's truth. So that is where that lies. So more to come. Jeff's point of view, Jeff's perspective. He'll share if he wants to, when he's ready, if that's the case. Difficult to say from our point of view as fans, because we're not there. We don't know nothing. It is interesting though. And I guess probably most importantly, according to his brother, Jeff is doing fine, which is kind of the only thing I give a shit about, is that Jeff is in a place where he believes, his brother believes, his family believes he's doing okay.
Yeah. He's happy. He's healthy. That is the most important thing. 100%. Exactly.
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, Decked. So, Larson.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard the story. You've got a truck-owning friendo who goes to their friend's house for a few hours. Maybe they're there watching a pay-per-view or something, and they completely forget about all the stuff they left in the bed of their truck. Then, when they go back to their truck, they discovered that while they were at their friendo's house, the heavens had opened up and dropped a bunch of rain or snow or whatever, and completely ruined everything they left in their truck bed.
Yeah, I've heard stories like that. Next time I do, I'm going to tell that friendo about Decked. The Decked drawer system is weatherproof, which means it'll keep your stuff safe from the elements. I'm talking rain, ice, and snow. Also, the Decked drawer system makes organizing and accessing everything in your truck bed so much easier.
Yeah, each of Deck's 2 full bed-length drawers can carry up to 200 pounds of whatever you want to put in them. And the drawers roll out around waist high, giving you easy access to your tools and gear. Plus, Decked is 100% made in the USA and backed by a lifetime, no-hassle warranty, and offers second-to-none customer service.
Getting Decked is the best thing friendos out there could do for their trucks, especially this time of year. Protect your stuff. Get your Decked drawer system at decked.com/raw and get free shipping. That's decked.com/raw for free shipping on your Decked drawer system. Decked.com/raw. And let's get a word from our sponsor, Manscaped. So, Steve.
Yeah.
The holidays are almost here. Hooray!
Woo!
So it's time to start thinking about what gifts you're going to give Santa's sack.
Yeah, and if you want to make sure the people in your life take care of their sack, then give the gift of Manscaped, the leader in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their top-selling Performance Package 4.0 has what a guy needs to keep their package off the naughty list.
It includes Manscaped's Lawnmower Body Trimmer, the best trimmer for balls, butt, body, the Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, both fantastic products, but let's not forget about Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner, which help keep your undercarriage fresh and clean.
And if you order a performance package right now, you'll get 2 free gifts, a great pair of Manscaped boxers and the Shed travel bag. Or if you're looking for some stocking stuffers, Manscaped's got you covered too, with shampoo, body wash, cologne, even ball wipes to help keep your sleigh bells from getting too stinky.
Whether you're shopping for your partner, dad, brother, or friendo, get them a gift they'll actually use. But make sure to hurry to get these gifts so they show up in time for the holidays. Right now, you can get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code RAW.
Again, get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code RAW. Be the ballsiest gift giver this year with Manscaped. Before we get back to the show, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, Credit Karma. Hey, Larson.
Yes.
Do you feel overwhelmed when it comes to handling personal finances?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Well, you know what, man? You're not the only one. Whether you're looking to pay for an upcoming expense or refinance credit card debt, Credit Karma is there to help you make those huge financial decisions with more confidence.
Yeah, Credit Karma uses your credit data to show you personal loan offers that are personalized to you. It's completely free and easy to sign up for a Credit Karma account with no effect on your credit score. With Credit Karma, you can check out multiple loan offers side by side. Members who compare loan offers on Credit Karma save an average of 30% on interest rates.
Once you get your loan, Credit Karma can help you track your progress as you pay off your debt. And we'll even let you know if you can refinance and save. Ready to apply? Head to creditkarma.com/loan offers to see personalized offers with your approval odds right now. Go to creditkarma.com/loan offers to find the loan for you. That's creditkarma.com/loan offers. All right, we're going to talk about Raw here. I promise we'll get to Raw. We'll get to Raw. First up, though, I just want to bring this up real quick. Raw wasn't terribly good last night.
It sucked.
I'll let you get into that in a little bit. But what's even more shocking seems to be the attendance figures for Raw lately. I know we're in the holidays and we're still in the middle of a fairly gnarly pandemic situation.
Yeah.
But good Lord, I was looking at this Twitter account, Purge Rebellion, and there are some pictures because apparently whoever runs this Twitter account was there. And there are some pictures, and there are a lot of empty seats. And then what was the point you were making in the pre-show?
So according to WrestleTix, which is a pretty interesting Twitter account that tracks sales numbers for not only WWE shows, but also AEW shows, it looks like the venues that WWE is running between now and, I don't know, the spring roughly, they're running their typical arenas, but they're tarping over seemingly a good amount of the venue. They're only, apart from pay-per-view, seemingly running between 3,000 and 7,000 capacity shows. I think in Detroit they have a show there coming up, and I believe it's the hockey and basketball arena where the Red Wings and the Pistons play. So I'm guessing I don't have the capacity numbers in front of me. I'm guessing it's a lot more than 7,000, which is apparently how many tickets were put on sale.
Yeah.
So it seems like they are running the usual arenas, tarping off probably a good portion that's behind the A cam, that's not on TV, and then hoping they could sell anywhere between 3,000 and 7,000 tickets for the parts of the arena that are shown on television to try to make it look as full as possible.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's all sorts of extenuating circumstances going on right now. Chad here in chat, for example, says it was in Minnesota and it's snowing there. But it is pretty shocking to see what's going on. I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, we're in the holidays. But enthusiasm for the product really does. We should be getting, I think, a few minutes here. The ratings usually they come in around 1 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah. So let me interject here real quick. So that particular arena where they are in Detroit, where they're running.
Whoa.
So for a hockey game, capacity is 19,000. So they're selling 7,000 tickets for this place. For concerts, between 15 and 22. For basketball, it's 20.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd think for a wrestling show, if they want to run full capacity, it would be around. It might be like 15, because
15,
they block off a bunch of seats for the set. So they're running maybe 50% capacity. So you'd think large portions of the upper deck and a lot of the seats on the hard cam, A cam side would probably be tarped off. Yeah.
We had somebody in our chat earlier talk about, I think it was in our chat earlier, talk about being there and Raw as a live experience. And this is why you notice how often they pipe in crowd noise, which is the worst thing. It's so obvious. It's so irritating. But it's like being there live for Raw. You and I, the last time we went was for the holiday taping like 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the ideal experience. It's not even close to the ideal experience to watch wrestling live because of last night when Big E had his backstage segment with Seth and Kevin Owens, where they approached him and said, "Hey, we got a plan." And he said, "No, fuck off." It was 35 to the hour. It was it would have been 2 hours and 25 minutes into the broadcast.
Yeah.
And that was the main event. Mm-hmm. It was literally 15 solid minutes later that the bell rang. It was ages later.
Yeah. This isn't a new thing too. If you go to a Raw taping or a SmackDown taping, the way the show is booked for the television audience, it makes it a far less enjoyable show for those who are actually there in attendance.
Yeah.
And especially an episode like last night where there is so much talking.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting in your seat, and the people who were there last night for Raw maybe got an hour's worth of wrestling. Maybe got an hour's worth of wrestling across a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
There was one match, I feel like that was maybe longer than 10 minutes, and that was the main event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bianca Doudrop might have pushed past that barely, but everything else was so short.
Yeah.
There was so much talking.
Yeah.
It's just not a fun viewing experience for the live audience when you're just sitting there listening to people talk the entire time. It's barely watchable when you're watching at home.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to segue into. You're talking about the live experience, even in the comfort of your own home, watching on your experience. TV. Larson, go ahead. How was Raw last night?
I texted you last night that if I didn't do this for a living, last night's Raw might have been the one that got me to stop watching Raw. Not because there was a single segment that was like awful, because there wasn't a segment that was Bailey, this is your life bad. It's just that so much of the show feels like it doesn't matter. They have, or they'll start story ideas that seem promising and they'll go nowhere. They come, and then last night they find something, they come across something that's actually, hey, a little bit clever. Kevin Owens comes out, punches Seth Rollins to get Lashley DQ'd so Seth can win. It keeps a triple threat. Yay. There's drama you could get from that. There's a story you could tell for that. Instead, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville just walk out and say, no, we're not going to let that happen. Restart, no DQ. And it's maddening. You could have compelling television. They just don't. In the process, it just feels like nothing matters. Nothing really matters. I'll say this. Main event was a lot of fun. I think Big E, for the most part, is putting on really fun matches since he's won the title. Like whenever he has a match, it's entertaining as all heck. He's still entertaining as all heck. I love Big E. I thought Seth and Kevin Owens, their segments last night were a lot of fun. They have great chemistry.
They do, yeah.
Kevin Owens he's a little bit he feels a little bit checked out, so he's just doing what he wants.
Yeah, that's always
a lot of fun.
That's always a great place for wrestlers to be.
Yeah. And I thought Bianca and Doudrop had another really good match last night.
They did.
By and large, everything else, I have no reason to care because the stories aren't interesting. They're just not. And it when you're investing 3 hours of time in a show, I want to watch Raw and enjoy it. I really do.
Yeah, it's not like we're watching this and we're like, oh man, I can't wait to dump on this.
No,
I can't wait to do this. I can't wait. I'm going to hate watch it. I go into it with a friend. I had like a bit different of a viewing. My viewing experience was really weird. So yesterday, as a lot of you know, my power went out. And then by the time I got to my dad's to record the show, my power was back up. So I got back and my power was up. And I usually start around 9 o'clock at night. And I try to catch up by fast forwarding through commercials and stuff. I was also like doing the artwork for the Friendo Awards thing. And so like, I mean, I tend to do that if I'll put it this way. I allow Raw to either capture my attention away from my secondary activity.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't. If it's compelling, guess what? If something's compelling, you are compelled to watch it. And I don't believe I have a bias against WWE. I don't like some of their business practices, but hey, if you could, I don't agree with a lot of the shit that Chris Jericho does in his spare time, but guess what? If I see him on TV and he's being entertaining, I usually check out of that stuff and I'm like, oh, this guy's entertaining me. Certain people can do that. WWE has the ability, and last week, our Raw review last week, like, hey, this is pretty good. This actually felt like a
fun show last week. Yeah,
felt like the A show last week. This week they had the same components, but it just wasn't compelling. And then my internet died for like an hour, and then I had to turn it back on. So, but by the time I got around to like the second hour of it, I was starting to understand where you were coming from, like deep into the second hour. I was starting to understand like why you were texting me these things. I was like, oh man, it must really suck. And I started getting into them. I was like, man, it's not that it like sucks. It's just like nothing matters. And they're treading some of the same ground from the previous week. And that was my main
doing it as well. Yeah.
It's just not, you're exactly right. That was my big issue with it, is that we've seen all this. They're not really advancing anything.
No, their idea of advancing stories is doing the same thing for the most part.
Yeah. And so it wasn't all that compelling. But it's sort of because I've got like my laptop over here to keep notes because I do that. And then I've got my iPad and I'm doing the drawing stuff. And so if I have something else to work on, Raw becomes a bit more bearable because I'm like, I don't need to pay attention to this. So I just start drawing. And that's how I can consume Raw. I would rather do that than just sit there and be miserable for like 2 hours. But I totally understand where you're coming from, and none of it's terribly compelling. I mean, let's just pull one thing out of the episode. Let's just take Damian Priest and Finn Balor versus the Dirty Dogs, right? I thought that we were just going to straight up get Austin Theory versus Finn Balor because one week Austin Theory attacks Finn Balor violently, and the next week you just stick Finn Balor in a tag team against the Dirty Dogs. With Damian Priest?
I know, because you really need that distraction loss for Finn. Wow, that really advances the story.
Yeah.
It's crap. That's what it is. It's crap. And this is a segment backstage with Vince and Austin Theory. I don't know the heck that was.
I have no idea what happened there because this is my best impersonation of the audio from that. We're gonna get a 10 minute to do what I'm gonna get. It's a pencil. The eraser is the eraser is what?
I kind of feel like the eraser is the important part. I kind of feel like Vince needs to take his own advice in this sense.
Yeah, right.
He starts erasing all this dialogue. What's the old adage for movies? Show, don't tell. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This show was 75% talking.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a broken record on this. If you put forth a wrestling program that you concentrate on the in-ring product and telling your stories there rather than a bunch of people talking, I will get into it because I like good wrestling and I like good wrestling storytelling. It just feels all this exposition, just people out there talking and talking and talking. When those are stories you can tell in far more interesting ways in the wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Do that. That's what the art of pro wrestling is telling stories in the ring. Yeah, and it's like WWE doesn't want to be that.
Well, the thing is, you actually have the ingredients, and we just literally saw it last week. We have the ingredients are there. We had a pretty decent Miz TV last week with Edge. This week, less so, because it was just sort of treading familiar ground. Miz comes out, he trolls by calling himself a Hall of Famer, and then Edge responds, and he says some stuff, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Miz uses Maurice as a human shield. It starts breaking down. So there's a bit of story development there with Miz and Maurice. It's probably just end up Maurice like trying to, they're putting on this for show so that Maurice and Miz can then, swerve Edge at January 1 or maybe next week or something.
1,000% what's going on there.
So which is fine. It's a story development. That's fine. It was actually relatively compelling, and I paid attention to that. It's like Maurice slapped the shit out of Miz. I'm like, oh, whoa, look at this. Now we know where it's going to go, but still, in the moment, it's fairly compelling. But yeah, they have all the same ingredients that they did last week, and they've got. I really, like you mentioned earlier, I really like the chemistry between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and I'm thinking, man, here we go. White Brownie's got the ratings. Total viewership of 1.574 million. So it's
0.39. Yeah,
it's really not great right now. But again, holidays, we'll see where they are after January 1. But no, they've got some great ingredients right now. They really do. I mean, that top scene right there where Lashley, Big E, Seth, and Rollins is a really terrific dynamic. Let me ask you this now. Let's pivot here a little bit before we get into the minutia of the show. Lashley officially was added to the match. He is a destroyer. He was able to, through tons of shenanigans, really, fight his way into, and it was a cool framing device. The idea behind it, Lashley has to beat all three guys in one night to get into this match. Cool idea. They tried to keep it. They tried to protect everybody in the process, I think a little too much, but he got the job done. He's in the match. How do you see this match playing out at January 1? We jokingly call it January 1. It's called Day 1. Miz referred to it as January 1 mistakenly last week. Yeah.
I kind of feel like the more people added to this match increases the odds that Big E is going to retain.
Same. Yeah.
If as a triple threat, you'd think, okay, if Seth Rollins, whoever wins is probably pitting Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, it's not, the match doesn't feel like an avenue by which you could potentially get Seth Rollins that title by having him pin Kevin Owens, then having a feud with Big E one-on-one after that. It feels like a match where they're really trying to establish Big E as champion by having him beat the 3 other top guys on Raw. So that's my take on it. I going back to Raw booking things like they don't matter. Do you remember how long Seth Rollins was carrying around that contract?
Yeah, I know.
Like, it was a huge thing. He won a ladder match to get that contract.
I know.
And then he just kind of offhandedly mentioned he's got his match at day one. And everything that was meaningful about that contract has week by week been chipped away. To now, him winning that contract meant basically nothing. Yeah,
because anybody could just step in and get write their ticket on that contract. Yep. I agree. I thought the contract was a really cool. I thought, hey, you know what? You can use this to cash in. Use this as like a Money in the Bank type thing. They did the exact same thing in NXT 2.0 with the Carmelo Hayes. You could have done that with Seth. And yeah, you go back to that. It's like he was carrying that thing around for like weeks. Like, why do they just let anybody just sort of roll in there and do it? Yeah, that was, I'm with you on that. Day one, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. I think you're probably right. I think that they're going to use this I think they might understand that this is not going to be the most watched pay-per-view of the year. Not even close, because it's going to be on the 1st of January.
Well, I think they're banking on Roman versus Brock to be the real draw for this show. I mean, I've read something that ticket sales have spiked.
Oh, have they?
Following the announcement of that match.
Oh, that's cool. Happening. Okay. Well, maybe there are going to be a bunch of eyeballs on it.
Yeah, there could be. I mean, there could be a lot of people home January 1st, potentially hungover with nothing to do. Yeah. Why not? I'll watch wrestling, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Before we get to the beat-by-beat stuff of the show, I want to talk about this RK Bro stuff. Like, I feel like for a while they were going on a good thing. For a while, RK Bro was interesting, and it was funny because the laughs seemed to happen somewhat organically, you know?
Yeah.
And then Orton, they were doing this thing where Orton's like, you got to get serious. And Riddle took that as, I have to learn from Randy and be more like Randy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was superficial stuff. He's going to start doing his moves, doing his pose, wear Drew Gulak's tights and say that I look like Randy Orton now. And then lately, they've completely gotten away from that. And I feel like they've kind of lost the story and the process.
Yeah.
Now it's just all Matt Riddle seemingly distracted by anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of lost the heart of the story, where Orton is telling Riddle, you need to focus on what matters, which is these belts. And here, sit under my learning tree. I will teach you how to do that. If the story was going to be so Riddle can get the superficial stuff, he can do the moves, but at his heart, he's not Randy Orton. You know, he's not the Viper. He's not the Apex Predator. And without that, they can never really be on the same page. And that's how it falls apart. And that's interesting. And maybe they're still going down that road. They're just buying themselves some time with all this other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. I do think that they are waiting for the right time. And I don't know if it's going to be, because I could see, I think Brock's probably going to win the Rumble, but Brock could win the title at day one. I still think that might be the thing, in which case Roman might win the thing, or he might just have a rematch at whatever. I think that they are pushing Orton Riddle, because right now it is really over, and it's really rare that they do like a Seth Rollins turning on the Shield thing, where they take the biggest, the most popular thing, and they turn it on its head. Randy Orton and Riddle are, especially Randy, are really over right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they are simply spinning their wheels, milking what they can out of it until the time they feel is right. And so in the meantime, yeah, the story's going to take a back seat to just, hey, let's entertain the people with their chemistry, because they do have pretty terrific chemistry.
They do have great chemistry, but you know, it's not like as over as what they are, and as fun as they can be. I don't have numbers in front of me. Is that translating into like serious merch sales?
Obviously, that would not shock me. That would
ratings bumps, stuff like that. Because outside of that, I mean, I saw one dude at the show yesterday that had an RK Bro hoodie on.
It's one thing. It is one of the very few things that you can tell is getting an organic pop in the crowd. I mean, we saw it last week on SmackDown when that crowd the entire time was just chanting for Randy.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare that WWE on their programming gets really actual organic, oh, we're waking up now because something we like is out there reactions. Bianca's, I think, kind of one of them. I think Bianca's kind of one of them.
Yeah. I think so.
And then I think the other one is totally RK Bro. And so I think they can look at that and be like, okay, we're not getting a lot of reactions from a lot of things. We kind of need to ride this for what we can.
I just kind of wish they could kind of find a way to have their cake and eat it too, as it advanced the overall story they want to tell without kind of getting lost in these side quests, if you will.
Yeah, but the next thing is just going to be the turn.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying you can find, you have a staff of writers. Find a way you could advance the story of them being on the same page, but yet kind of not.
What is this shit?
And then
this is what Vince thinks you're writers. What is this shit?
Without these comedy bits that I don't know, just aren't working. I don't feel the comedy bits the last few weeks have hit the way they had before.
Where's my eraser?
Just eraser
is the important part.
The important bit. I just don't feel like it's working as well as it was.
Was it intentional for Austin Theory to be sitting there with his legs like wide open and Vince looking like he's reaching under?
Yeah, that was weird.
Right? Like I was like, okay, this is just an odd way to stage this.
Some weird blocking, yes, for that.
Some weird blocking because it looks like Vince was going for his looked like he was trying to manscape him. He was going for his below the waist grooming there. Then he pulled out a pencil. Anyways, let's just get into this. Let's dive into it here. It started off with Lashley and MVP. Lashley, that suit Lashley was wearing.
Oh, that suit was amazing. It was like not color safe for television. It was bright.
Literally burning into my TV.
It was so great.
I'm gonna draw the line at that point and say just because this thing is not color safe doesn't mean it's great. He needs to dial it down a little bit.
I liked it not just because of color, because the fabric has some texture to it. That's what I really liked about it.
Oh man, it was killing my eyes, dude.
Oh, loved it.
So they started the show. I'm truncating a lot of this, by the way.
Yeah, I gotta say it was about 23 minutes before we had our first in-ring action last night. Once I realized we were getting a lot of talking, I kind of kept track of the clock.
Oh yeah, I do that sometimes too.
So it was about 23 minutes, I think.
MVP says Lashley's the most feared man in the WWE. He's like the Candyman, but you don't have to say his name 3 times for him to appear. He should be in the January 1 match. Kevin Owens comes out, says, I earned my spot in the match. You want to talk about disrespect? Laying me out when I was already laid out is disrespectful. I'm going to be the champion WWE Universe deserves. Seth comes out, interrupts Kevin Owens, says, Lashley, I respect your suit game. And as much as I hate to say this, though, I agree with Kevin Owens, who also, by the way, shouldn't be in this match. Lashley says, if you don't want me in this match, the two of you need to take me out. And Seth and Kevin are like, hey, we're kind of on the same page right here. Kevin Owens is like, why don't we take him out? And Seth's like, good idea, Kevin. And Kevin says, okay, you go first. You're faster, and I'll get your back. He's going to attack you. So they're sort of arguing. Big E comes out. He says, the two of you might be afraid of Lashley, but I have beat him before. I have no problem beating him a second time. Pierce and Sonya come out, say, we're not afraid to dole out fines and suspensions. But Sonya says, hey, a fatal 4-way sounds great. Lashley's going to be added to the match if he can beat Big E, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins all tonight. And scene.
Yeah, good job paraphrasing all that.
Thanks.
Because it was long.
It was very long. It was very
long.
Yeah.
You want wrestling? Guess what? You're going to have to wait because we got to go backstage with RK Bro. Riddle is still obsessed with these blazers that they had last week. They have sentimental value to him now. But he says, hey, Randy, don't worry. I've been watching a lot of tape, and the ideas are flowing. And Orton's like, I hope you mean you're watching tape on our potential opponents for day one, not tape of you wearing the blazers. And Riddle says, well, I've been watching tape of both. And Orton tells Riddle, your broadcasting career was over before it began. Got a list of priorities. Top of that list has to be keeping these tag titles. Riddle says, yes, I agree. But I think we should start a podcast because Pat McAfee got that huge deal, or we should be shamans. At least they reference NXT there.
That's true.
Orton says, no. Also, you got to stop hanging out with those jackasses. Riddle says, imagine if I was in one of those jackass movies. And Orton says, come to think of it, you are a jackass. You should be in the movie, but this is reality. Tonight, you got to face Otis. If you put your focus at 100, tonight, you'll get that W. And then one day in the distant future, maybe I will allow you, Matt Riddle, to put that blazer back on me, Randall Keith Orton.
Speaking of distant future, still no wrestling because backstage, Sonya and Pierce explains that Lashley, they're talking to the three Owens, Rollins, and Big E. Says, listen, guys, Lashley has to beat all of us to get in the match. Kevin Owens, your match is up first. And then we had our first bit of in-ring action. Oh, did I miss something? Oh, okay. We had Riddle versus Otis. Otis crushed Riddle against the barricade as Raw rolls on. In the end, Riddle tries for an RKO. Instead, eats Otis's finish. Randy comes in, tries to RKO Otis after the match. Otis is able to push him off, and he runs right into RKOing Chad Gable, which was a pretty cool spot.
Yeah.
Dude, I really like. We've been obviously pretty negative in this episode. I don't mean to pile on the negativity. Otis is a monster. Just doesn't. He was booked so perfectly as the comedy guy. I know I've said this before. Time and time again, I don't care how many victories he gets over people, how much offense he no-sells. He could get a clean one-on-one win. I'll be honest, over Brock, over Roman, I'm still not buying it. I look at his face and I still just, oh, yeah. I still just see that guy. Maybe it's because I want to see that guy. I don't, but I'm kind of curious. And chat, YouTube comments on Twitter. Does anybody actually buy Otis as a monster these days? Do you feel it at all?
No, but also I think part of that, because I know there's a ceiling that doesn't extend beyond the mid card for this particular iteration of the character. So why should I get invested even if I'm into it? You know,
if he beat Roman clean tomorrow and won the Universal Championship,
yeah,
would it compute in your head?
No, not at all.
Yeah, right.
Not at all.
Yeah,
I
bought Jinder more than I buy Otis. You know, I was like, oh, he's got the Colossus. Like, remember when out of nowhere, like the Colossus was like this devastating move?
Yeah.
It's like he's running interference with the Bollywood boys, and he's got the Colossus. Okay, I can buy it.
Yeah.
Oh, Otis, I don't even feel that.
No, I don't buy it either.
Yeah.
We got another match next: Bianca Belair versus Doudrop. This was solid. They had plenty of references to their match last week, which I always appreciate that. Before we get the match, though, guess what? More talking. Bianca has a promo. Pretty much says you let people talk that talk, but they don't walk the walk, except for Doudrop. She walked out of their match last week where I was about she was going to get dropped. She's been attacking me for weeks behind my back. But she's not going to let her walk away from the fact that Bianca says that she's going to whoop her ass because she's the EST. Doudrop has a picture while she's making her entrance. She's talking about how she's overcome so much, yet all anyone wants to talk about is Bianca. It's time for someone else to step up, take away that spotlight. That's going to be her. Again, there was this bit last week where Doudrop sent to the apron. Bianca does the handspring heel kick that knocks her to the floor. Bianca tries the same thing. This time, Doudrop's ready, traps her against the ropes, stretches her over the rope a little bit, hits a Michinoku driver, gets 2. Doudrop's looking for a Vader bomb. Instead, Bianca rams her face in the ring post, power bombs her off the second rope, hits a 450 to get the win. And while Bianca's celebrating on the stage, Doudrop attacks her from behind.
This is probably my feud of Raw right now, because I've like you said, when you can reference old matches, when you have a rematch, that's great. That's awesome. Bianca going up there, finding her opportunity and selling that she has a moment in time where she can maybe put this monster away, because I buy Doudrop. I buy her. She hits that 450 and the crowd legitimately was freaking out over it. I like that. That's good stuff.
It is good stuff. It is good stuff. So next we got Kevin Owens interview. He just pretty much calls everything trash. The situation's trash. Lashley getting out of this match, or potentially getting added to the title match is trash. Him having to wrestle Lashley first is trash. City of St. Paul is trash. Says, but the good news is I get to go out there and put it into this right away. Make sure Lashley is added to the match. Even better. I get to go to day one with WWE title. And that, it's no lie.
Yeah. So after that, we had this segment. We had that segment with like the next in line class. They're all like the college
the NIL
stuff
class. Yeah.
They're all like, oh, look at this guy. He's 6'3". He's gonna be monster. I'm like, dude, I know that's great for them. Hey, that's great for these kids. It's awesome. But like, I gotta wait till like 2023 before I see him on my TV.
Dude, no, the way they're going now in NXT, they're gonna be there for 2 months. They're gonna be out in the ring. You can get to know these people real quick.
It was February to
October, so 8 months.
8 months. And they're going to debut in NXT. Yeah, all right.
So maybe Gable Steveson. He was there last night.
He was there last night. They're going to give him a main roster thing, like
they are.
whenever he's ready. But I think isn't the NI aren't these people still sort of in the same deal as Gable Steveson, and that like they still have to finish up their college stuff and then they'll get time in WWE PC, and then if they're good, they'll give. So it's like they've got this screen of like 20 people. Yeah. And it's like, okay, good for them. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. Totally.
It's not exactly Keith Lee sitting in the crowd at TakeOver, though, is it? You know, it's like, I can get excited about this. You show me a bunch of randos who have relatively impressive body types and resumes. I don't know. I don't mean to be shitty. Good for them.
Yeah, good for the college athletes, because I'm happy there's an avenue by which they can make some money.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm happy for the student athletes.
Money's good. Kevin Owens versus Lashley was next. I actually quite like the way this ended. Kevin's getting manhandled for most of this match, and then Bobby Lashley goes for the hurt lock before he gets the first hand in. Before he gets the second locked in, Kevin Owens just taps. He's like, "Yep, no, I'm out of here." And they kayfabe it later on. I actually liked how this match finished.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It's kind of. You have Kevin Owens versus Bob Lashley. You have Seth Rollins versus Bob Lashley. You can get 10, 12-minute really good matches there. Fill up some time. Less talking. And you could have the finishes be the same.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead we get, 3 minutes, 5 minutes maybe of this? Seth Bob Lashley match was short.
It was, yeah. It was kind of.
I want to see these wrestlers wrestle.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I agree. After that, Sonya is backstage with Seth, says, "You're up next." But before he actually had his match, we had a Becky Lynch promo. Says, talking to the crowd, talking down to the crowd, saying, the crowd never knows what you want. Some of you guys wanted Liv to win. I'm sorry. Some of you wanted me to win. Most of you wanted Liv to win. She says, "You all have opinions on me, but your opinions don't matter because you never changed the game like I did. You've never been in this ring. You've never broken gender barriers, because in here, it's evolution, baby. And if you don't evolve, you'll just end up disappointing your fans." She says, she brings up the young Liv fan who was in the crowd last week. She says, she brings up her picture on the thing. She says, "All your doubters can get used to looking like that, though, because I'm going to be champion for a very long time." Liv comes out. She says, "You keep saying everyone would doubt me if I became Raw Women's Champion, but the only person doubting me is you, and you doubting me is a reason you had to cheat to win." She says, "I have a photo to prove my point." She shows a picture of Becky holding onto the rope from last week. She says, "You're the best at cheating to win," and Becky's like laughing it off. Another person laughing it off is this crazy Becky Lynch child fan who is just giving Liv the business. I could not focus on what Liv was saying.
I know.
This girl's like, "Boo, you suck. Becky's the best." She is head to toes like, I love this person, this little kid, because they are cracking me up right now.
It was pretty funny. Yeah, it was pretty great.
And then she had to move because the camera's like trying to crop the girl out, but you still hear, "Becky rules, you fucking suck, Liv."
Yeah, I'm here taking notes, trying to listen to Liv talk, and I keep on hearing somebody scream at Liv,
"Yeah,
Becky's the best.
Becky's the best. You're a sack of shit."
It's that kid there, as you mentioned, all Becky.
Why is this 8-year-old screaming at Liv that she's a sack of shit? Who's raising this kid? Oh man, but I thought that was absolutely great. So Liv just keeps on talking. And she goes on about making the title. She wants to make the title mean something for people like that little girl. But then when she says that little girl, I just think of that little Becky fan over there? Were you crazy?
Yeah.
That title means something to her. She says, if you're big time Beck, she'll accept a rematch at January 1. Becky says, "Nah, I didn't do that cheating stuff because I had to do it. So I did it because it was easy." And I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense." She says, "Don't blame me for grabbing the ropes. Blame yourself for not being ready for it. You knew I'd do something like that, and you didn't prepare for it. You're not ready. All you proved is you don't have the killer instinct. You did the same thing you always do. Absolutely nothing." And on that, Liv attacks. She rips into Becky, sends her to the outside. They go to the outside. Becky gets the upper hand, rams her into the ring steps, stomps her arm, has a cartoonish weird fall that happens, gets back up, and then goes back to stomping.
I thought that was supposed to be a drop kick to the ring steps.
I went back and replayed it. Honestly, if it was, it just looked like she slipped and fell, but that could have been a drop kick, I guess. I could be wrong there, but man, I watched. I was like, "What the hell was that?"
I noticed that too, and I was like, "Well, she had to be kicking the ring steps or something." That's the only thing that made sense.
I mean, the camera didn't really catch it that much, so whatever it was. Oh, Fightful Gaming is rating us. What's up, Friendos? Thank you very much.
Hello.
FTW here in chat says the camera cut made it look like she fell. I did go back and watch it, and I was like, that looked like a fall, but my brain wasn't processing drop kicks, so maybe it was supposed to be that. I don't know. In any event, she goes back to stomp, and she recovers pretty nicely, whatever it was. Yeah. She says, "Oh, look, Liv, it looks like you injured yourself, so if you still want the match, you're on, and now there's no able-bodied women around. I'm going home." And then that match was booked for January 1, so that match is happening. So Liv's going to walk in, I guess, with a busted whatever. What did they say they're kayfabing that as? Like a
bruise and a strained ligament, I believe.
All right.
I believe. Yeah. After that, we had an AJ Styles interview. He's asked about the issues he and Amos had last week, and he pretty much just said, "I'm not going to give up on this team. Amos has got too much talent." He says, "I've been in this business a long time, never seen anyone like Amos." He says, "If things go bad, that's on me. I'm the one that's supposed to show Amos the right way to do things, and so if he doesn't do it, then that's on me." That's essentially what he's saying. He says, "When I discovered Amos, I didn't bring him in just to boost my own career. I did it to give back. It's an investment." He says, "But the longer they've been together, he realized that Amos is a good kid and he wants to see him succeed." And Amos steps in. He puts his arm around AJ, asks if they're good. AJ says, "We're golden. I'm not giving up on this team." And Amos says, "I'm not either."
Yeah, AJ's totally giving up on that team. I wonder also if that's why they'd postpone RK Bro split, because they have another prominent split that's going to happen probably before then, and that's AJ Styles on Amos.
It could be.
This was a wonderfully heartfelt promo, but AJ's a bad guy, so he's totally going to turn on Amos.
Yeah.
After that, we have the 24/7 stuff. I'm going to run through this. So Reggie and Dana are walking in the park. He's trying to get her to go out to have some like hot cocoa with him or something.
Yeah. Because he says he has some advice for her.
Yeah.
As far as how to be 24/7 champion, hold the belt for, I think he said he had it for 100 days.
Yeah. So Truth and Akira Tozawa show up in costumes, like Christmas costumes. They fight. Tamina tries to attack Dana. Dana's able to fend her off. Her and Reggie both like jump. They like trampoline away or something. It was actually kind of funny. You see Dana going like bow into the snow.
Yeah.
And Reggie does the same thing with a big flip.
Reggie does the flip. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Tamina yells at Truth and Akira Tozawa. Silly stuff, but at least it's pretty short.
It is short. Speaking of short, we had Finn Balor and Damian Priest teaming up for some reason. Although it's a cool team.
Yeah, they're super cool.
It's a cool team. I don't know why they're teaming up in this.
So we know that like Dolph attacked Priest after the win against
I get all that.
Bob.
Yeah. This really should have been a Damian Priest Dolph Ziggler 101 bout, and then Finn Balor versus Austin Theory 101 bout. Those should have been the matches.
Yeah, Finn has nothing to do with the Dirty Dogs.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
He fought T-Bar last week.
Yeah, that's right. But maybe after this week he will, because he took an L.
Yeah.
Because Austin Theory. So Finn goes up top to go for a coup de grace on Dolph. Austin Theory runs out, takes a selfie with Finn when he's on the top rope. Finn gets off the top rope, hits the clothesline on Theory, knocks him to the floor, and then as he's like staring at Theory, Dolph hits him with the zigzag to get the win, and then Austin Theory hits the ring to take another selfie with Finn. All these matches we're talking, for the most part, everything before the main event, as I said, most of them shorter than 10 minutes. A lot of them way shorter than 10 minutes.
Have you sorry, somebody in chat made a funny joke. He said Finn hangs a mean roll of dimes and Priest respects that. I've never heard that phrase before. Finn hangs a mean roll of dimes? What the heck, dude?
Wow.
No lies detected. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. The actual selfie Austin Theory posted on social media. Finn's face
Finn on the top rope.
Finn's face is pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Anyways, after that we had Nikki Cross backstage, Nikki ASH backstage, trying to explain to Rhea Ripley why she sucks. And Rhea tries to pep her up, says, "Hey man, you're great. You won Money in the Bank. You cashed in successfully. You have that champion mentality. I want that. I'm kind of a loser. And then she like spilled her guts about not being able to beat Charlotte. And Nikki's like,
that was well done.
It was well done. It was well done. Nikki's like, hey, man, I appreciate that. No matter what, I got your back. And then we had Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. Nikki totally ended up being a liability, though. She chases Carmella into the ring, gets her ass super kicked. Rhea goes down to check on her. Zelina rolls her up for the win.
Yeah, and it was like less than a minute. It was super short. The promo that Carmella and Zelina had beforehand was longer than this match, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they had a thing where Zelina was just running down the crowd the whole time.
Yeah.
Zelina's promos are pretty funny. It was a bit long, but they're pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Her switching in and out of her like elegant English accent, her royalty accent, and then just like yelling at them is pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. So after that, we get Seth Rollins. He's going over his strategy backstage with himself. He's just kind of, if I do that, then that. And then Kevin Owens walks up to him. Seth is like, what are you doing here? What do you want? And Owens tells him to calm down. Says, I think I should go out there ringside with you because Lashley is MVP. And Seth says, no, I don't want you anywhere out there. He says, you tapped out to Lashley before you got the Hurt Lock in. And Owens says, of course I did. There's no escaping the Hurt Lock. So why risk getting injured before day one? He says, that was smart. And that's why Seth should take my advice. Let me go out there with you, and then we could take care of this together. And Seth says, I don't know what's going on in your stupid little brain of yours. And Kevin Owens kind of says under his breath, oh, great plans. And Seth says, no, your plans don't work out well for me. So stay here backstage while I go out and try to figure out a way to beat Lashley on my own. And he leaves, and Kevin Owens says, you're making a mistake.
This would make for a killer tag team.
It'd be a lot of fun.
This would be a hilariously fun tag team. I don't think we're ever going to see it because we're probably 6 weeks away from
Kevin Owens being out the door.
Kevin Steen leaving. Great plans when I leave WWE. After that, we had Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley. This match is not very long. Kevin Owens ends up attacking Seth Rollins to get him the DQ win.
A finish, which should have been the finish of this match, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And it's smart.
Yeah.
And it's clever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And you could tell a story from here that provides some extra drama to this whole scenario. Have Lashley bully the ref. Have him destroy Owens and Seth ringside until Sonya and Pierce give him what he wants. Mm-hmm. There's countless ways you can go about doing this that are more interesting than just Adam Pierce and Sonya Deville walking out. It's like, nope, it's not going down like that. We're going to restart it, no DQ.
Yeah.
And then just for Lashley to hit Seth with a spear to get the win. And like, this could be interesting and fun, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
After that, Vince. So yeah, Lashley hits Seth with a spear for the win. Vince is in his office talking to Apollo Crews and Aziz. Austin Theory comes in and he just wants Vince's validation. Vince is like not impressed. And he's like, what do you want, Dad? I'll give you a pencil. And this whole thing with like a pencil. Looks like he's going for his dick. Instead, he pulls out a pencil. He's got an eraser. This is the part that's important. I'm just confused by the whole fucking thing. So
yeah, I don't know. Like early on, so Austin Theory showing Vince the selfie he took. He's like,
yeah.
And Vince says, that's impressive. No, not really. He says, do you think I should give you something for that? Like a pat in the back? Maybe a trophy, maybe a participation trophy, maybe something really important. Like my autograph on a doily.
I don't know what that means.
I have no idea what that means. Is that supposed to be funny?
Me?
Because it's not.
Probably.
It's not.
I could see Vince making a.
And then Theory's like, well, maybe if I get a match, I can show you what I can really do.
Yeah.
And then Vince's like, you barge in here like we're friends or something, like we're buddies, or at least that's what you want it to be. And then Theory's like, well, I did what you said and I followed your lessons. And Vince just tells him to shut up. You're not my friend. I don't want friends. So I don't have any friends because I don't want any friends. You haven't impressed me yet. And that's why we did the pencil thing.
Yeah.
It says, this isn't the end that's important. This is. And I know there's no eraser on this particular pencil.
But there was one on that one, yeah. Is your standard number 2. Rage,
I just don't get it.
Rage here in chat. I have no idea what the fuck happened. Rage says T-Bar beat Apollo on main event. That's kind of shocking, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
After that, we had Miz TV. Maurice comes down, runs down the crowd, introduces my husband, the most awesome person, Miz. Miz comes down, and he has this whole video package where he endorses himself for the Hall of Fame. He's a surefire Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Headliner, maybe not, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't, there's too many bigger names. I mean, it's funny on paper, he's totally a headliner, but at the end of the day, it's just Miz.
Exactly.
So Edge comes out. I'm just, again, nutshelling this. Tells Miz, I think you doubt yourself. That's why you talk so much. He says, I tried to teach you a lesson in 2006. You didn't learn it then. I'm going to have to teach you a lesson at day one. Miz attacks Edge. Edge comes back, but Miz shoves Maurice in the way. Edge stops. Miz boots Edge. Maurice gets mad, slaps Miz, walks off.
Mm-hmm. It's all a setup for a swerve.
Yeah, it was well done, though. Maurice was good in this.
Yeah.
Maurice is always good.
Yeah, she is. Then we get Big E. He's backstage. Owens and Seth walk up to him. And they're like, hey, you got this. Yeah, Seth tells Big E, you're our last hope. And then Big E says, don't come anywhere near the ring. He says, I don't want your help. I don't need your help. I can and will beat Bob Lashley. And he said, if you want our match at day one, your main triple threat, stay far away. The whole time Kevin Owens is just like, no, you should listen to us. I got a plan. I got a very good plan.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. I wish we had had this Kevin Owens for the last, I don't know, year or two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
After that, we had a Lashley interview with MVP. MVP says now that it's no DQ, Lashley can inflict as much damage as possible, which brings us, oh, by the way, at some point during this Raw, we had yet another Veer Mahan is coming to Raw.
It's starting to feel like a rib at this point.
It was October 25th that the first one of these debuted.
It's almost 2 months. Almost 2 months.
Do you know how long? I'm doing a video for Wrestle Juice on this. Do you know how long Brackus's WWF vignettes went back in 96 and 97? 273 days.
Wow.
They started running vignettes, and he had 2 excursions by the time he showed up for WWF. He went to USWA and then to ECW, and then he showed up in WWF. He was there for 2 months. The vignettes aired for 9 months. He was there for 2.
How many months did the Emelina vignettes run?
Those were long. It was 140 days.
Oof.
Yeah.
And that character was on for 1 episode.
Yeah, like a minute. Yeah. She came out and said her thing and then left. Yeah.
Yep. Then we got our main event. This is a fun match, physical. No DQ. Tables are involved. Chairs. There's this great bit where Lashley sets up a table on the floor right next to the apron. Big E looks to hit his apron spear, put Lashley to the table. Instead, Lashley gets his knees up, ends up hitting the spine buster through a table set up in the ring. Gets the 2, Raw rolls on. We come back. Big E dumps Lashley on the ring steps. And that looked like a rough spot for Lashley's lower back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That looked like it sucked.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He puts Lashley back in the ring. Big E's looking for a big ending. Lashley escapes that, looks for a hurt lock. Big E escapes that. Lashley hits the spear, and he's going over to make the cover, and that's when Owens and Seth run out. They start beating up Lashley and MVP. Big E gets up and tries to fight them off. Instead, he gets overwhelmed. So you got Lashley brawling with Seth, and then you got Big E and Kevin Owens. They're fighting to the floor. Owens tries to powerbomb Big E through that table set up on the floor. Instead, Big E hits a uranagi on Owens, puts him through the table. Shortly after that, Lashley spears Seth to the table. So Lashley's selling the spear. Big E gets in the ring. He's telling Lashley to get up. Let's finish this. MVP sneaks in the ring, hits Big E in the knee with his cane. That's one consistent thing they've been doing with Big E is that he's got the bum leg.
Mm-hmm,
he's got the bad leg. You know?
Yeah.
And then Lashley follows with a spear to get the win.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was legitimately a good match. It was fun.
It was a good match.
Yeah. Big E's putting a lot of really brutal, putting on a bunch of really cool, brutal matches.
Mm-hmm.
It was good stuff. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. Everybody here in the chat wants to ask us some questions. Please highlight your message using your channel points. This is interesting. Rage here in chat. I noticed this a few moments ago. Said Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer talked about the pencil stuff with Vince on Busted Open and brought up how he can pencil you in, and if he's hungry and can't get food, he will easily erase all plans of you.
Wow.
Tommy Dreamer's back on Busted Open, or was this like a while ago?
That's a good question.
Just curious. Let's see here. Of course, we've got a thread over here on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson. If you enjoy Going in Raw and would like the show ad-free in the audio realm.
Rage says he's back.
Okay. And if you want the show ad-free in the audio realm, you can get it. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. $5 a month gets you the show ad-free, plus both of our bonus episodes. If you just want to pay $3 a month, you can get the show ad-free with no bonus episodes at goinginraw.supercast.tech. Crispy McGrizzle asks, rank the top 3 kayfabe places that Veer is instead of on Raw.
Ooh. I mean, is this in kayfabe or just period?
In kayfabe.
Oh, all right. So catering, I can't say.
Catering, I think, has been, at least it's kayfabed in AEW.
All right. Then catering is both the kayfabe and in reality correct answer.
You think he shows up? You think he shows up in case they're going to use him?
Yeah.
Probably backstage, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Blake Whitehouse says, what's something that Raw does that you enjoy more than what SmackDown? Wow. Than what SmackDown and AEW does. So, I will say this. On a good episode of Raw, they manage their main event scene in a way, like the pieces they have in the main event, to me, are more unpredictable than on SmackDown. On SmackDown, it's deeper. Roman. It might be Brock come day one, but if it's not Brock, it ain't going to be anybody for a long time with that Universal Championship. At least with the thing that's happening right now, Owens, Rollins, Big E, Lashley now, even you can go over to Edge, Riddle, Orton. There's a lot of moving pieces there that could land in that top spot. It keeps things unpredictable. In the main event scene, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. That's a good answer. Quoth the Raven, isn't Darby Allin going to be the new Jackass movie? I think so.
I thought I heard yes, but then I thought I heard no after the fact, so I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Muted Mayday, anyone know what Becky's gear was inspired by? That was new gear.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Maybe somebody in chat knows, but it was something seemingly very specific. Yes. I didn't even see what it said on the back. It was PA something, and I didn't know what the rest
I
was.
couldn't tell what it said either.
Let's see here. Imposter Naked Midian asks, do you think Big E would be able to get away with his Seinfeld-themed gear if it wasn't for WWE's relationship with NBC?
I don't think that matters at all.
If Big E was on Fox, I kind of feel like it wouldn't matter.
I don't think that matters. Because Seinfeld ran on NBC, I don't think NBC owns the rights to the show.
It's on Netflix now. It's not on Peacock. It's on Netflix now.
Yeah, because they weren't the ones producing the show. I think it was Castle Rock was the production company behind the show. So I think they would control the rights. I don't think him being on Raw and being on NBC Universal Family Networks has anything to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine if he was on Fox and a network executive had some weird bone to pick with that, he'd probably have to stop doing it. But sort of a weird... I would doubt that would happen.
Yeah. I would too.
Let's see here. David asks, considering that there seems to be some tension between Rhea and Nikki, who would pull the heel trigger first? I hope it's Nikki. I like the idea of the supervillain thing that one of our friendos suggested earlier.
Let's see here. Die Hard Homer says Emelina was 134 days.
Okay, that's what it was.
October 2016 to February 2017.
Yeah. Moses asks, do you think there's any chance of any Ring of Honor wrestlers debuting at the Rumble similar to AJ Styles? Sadly, I do not think that would happen.
Probably.
Well, unless you consider Titan.
Yeah, Ring of Honor superstar, yeah.
Right, a Ring of Honor superstar. I think Braun Strowman is going to come back at the Rumble.
Shane's birthday tweet, are Raw and Rampage becoming the show to watch for one match or moment, and the rest of the show is just there to fill time? I think Rampage thus far has been, on a week-to-week basis, uneven, but it benefits from only being an hour long. So even if it's uneven, at least, you're guaranteed pretty much most weeks to get something, one segment, one match out of it that you could talk about. and you don't feel like you're wasting a bunch of time, when you're only investing an hour into it, when you're investing 3 hours and hoping that you get something that's memorable out of an episode of Raw. Oof. Oof.
Yeah. Crossface Chicken Stain says, what moment in wrestling, if changed, could cause a Flashpoint type catastrophe? So if I'm not mistaken, Flashpoint, I think I've only seen like the animated movie of it. It was a DC storyline where the Flash, like his mom lived or something like that. Something happened where it changed a ton of the future, and like a lot of stuff went to shit. Like the Atlanteans were fighting the, I don't know, Wonder Woman people, Amazonians, I guess, something like that. What's one moment in wrestling that would have changed a lot of future?
Maybe the Montreal Screwjob to a certain extent. If that hadn't happened, then who knows if they would have come up with the Mr. McMahon character.
Yeah.
And without the Mr. McMahon character, would Austin have had a strong enough foil to take him to new heights?
Diehard Homer has a good one here. Benoit. Had Benoit not done what he did, I wonder how different things would have been, like with the wellness policy. If Thunder in Paradise would have been a massive hit and Hogan didn't sign with WCW.
Could have had Sting in the NWO.
Yeah. I wonder. Honestly, the biggest one is if Vince was, if the prosecutors in the steroid trial were competent at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Lipkin says here, answering that question, curtain call doesn't happen. Triple H wins King of the Ring. No Austin 316. Attitude Era doesn't launch.
Oh, that wouldn't have mattered. He would have been huge regardless. Austin, the 316 thing was just like, in the moment, that was a big deal. But, man, he would have been huge regardless.
I'm just trying to do something. Could WWE Day 1 pay-per-view be a soft reboot, reshuffling of champions?
I don't see why they would do it. I don't think there's any. There's the possibility. Maybe Vince is like really high on Lashley. He's like, man, I miss how things were when Lashley was a champ. Maybe Vince wants his a Raw to have a Roman Reigns type guy, and he wants that to be Lashley. And maybe he thinks, okay, we'll put the title back on Lashley. But then if that was the case, why wouldn't he just have Lashley be the number one contender and have him dominate Big E? You know?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I mean, the Day 1 thing is like you're protecting everybody. Back when it was just Big E versus Seth, I was like, oh, they might do a title change here. Now that they throw a million different people in the match, you're probably right. They're probably just going to protect Big E or have him keep that title.
Yeah. Notorious LFG, what is left on the Kevin Owens goodbye tour? Of union with Sammy or another feud with him?
After Day 1, he'll have, 30 days left, allegedly, on his contract?
Yeah, it's the end of the month, I think his contract expires.
Maybe, I don't know, a brief thing where he puts somebody else over more?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to give him anything special for his way out, though.
No.
It's going to be, trying to get other people over. Xavier Gray says, why is nobody talking about the Monday Night Raw episodes from 1993 anymore? I actually found those episodes to be more enjoyable to watch than any of the more recent episodes of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, they're also an hour back then.
They're only an hour. We should put those on if we start doing Going In Raw views in the new year. Put that on the schedule.
Oh, wow. Good question here from White Brownie. Which 1 hour show would you watch if only given one choice? NXT UK or Rampage?
Oh, you know my answer to that.
Yes, UK.
It's UK. Absolutely. You get the thing is, if I only had 1 hour in my schedule any given week to watch wrestling, it'd be UK, because you get an entire promotion in that 1 hour. So for me, it'd be UK.
Don Wagner says, I'm currently getting my ass kicked by allergies. What are you allergic to that is unfortunate? Right now, it's not exactly an allergy. It's an intolerance. It's eggs and chicken. Can't eat them.
Wow. Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah. I don't think I'm allergic to anything. So I'm good.
Lucky you.
I guess so, right? Been blessed by Jeebus. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.